Okay, guys, welcome back to the Arsenal 101 Premier League Forum with some familiar faces. I'm joined today by Drew and Neil. Hopefully, we'll get a few others coming on as the evening progresses. But it's been interesting. We've come to the end of a transfer window. We've seen a week off, really, because we've had a week of FA Cup football, followed by Carabao Cup football. And we've literally just seen the first game of the weekend, Fulham drawing 0-0 at Chelsea against the multi-million-pound spenders.
Yeah,
So first I'm going to ask, how are you guys? Drew, how you doing, buddy?
Well, my side is splitting with laughter at Chelsea's transfer policy because they have literally in 2 transfer windows spent what City spent in 5 seasons.
They've actually spent
when
more
everyone
money
criticised us.
No, but they spent more money. They've spent more money than the Tories have in 13 years on the NHS. So
yeah,
say
man.
no more, right? The NHS could do with that some of that money. So say no more. But we're getting out of politics. Not getting into politics. Not getting into politics,
yeah,
mate.
It is somewhat sick that a football team can afford to spend that amount of money. But anyway, Neil, how you doing, buddy? How's your week been? I know it can't be.
Well, it's been okay as long as we don't talk about football and Brighton.
Okay.
It's been good, mate. It's been good. You know. But say no more, man. Say no more. I'm moving on. I've moved on to this week. This weekend's games. That's what I've moved on to. Forget, you know, the week's gone. That's in the past now. Don't need to worry about that now. Can't change it.
Look to the future.
That's all I can do. That's all I can do. And pretend that the past didn't happen.
So I'm just going to make a quick call. If you two carry on talking for a sec.
Cool.
This whole look into the future policy, though, it really does work. I mean, ever since 2008, I spent the rest of my life just not following football, apparently, because all those years of relegations and being absolutely useless never happened for Man City before that.
No, I get that. Oh, new signings. Yeah, there's only one player for Liverpool there. Where did the others go?
Well, to be fair, City only brought in one player as well.
Yeah, but you didn't need to bring any players in. Yeah, you can afford to lose players and still be just as strong.
Although we've basically just got rid of the world's best fullback, so
yeah. Well, there was obviously a reason why you got rid of him. He clearly did not get on with Pep.
Well,
look at this total spend, man! Wow,
it's ridiculous. Premier League without Chelsea, 500 a month.
Wow. Look at Chelsea compared to Liga, Bundesliga, La Liga. They spent more than those 4 leagues together, right?
That is insane.
Mental. That is mental.
I'm pretty sure you probably put the Eredivisie in there as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yet they still could not beat Fulham. Tony? Have you got a graphics that shows the worth of Chelsea's team today compared to the worth of Fulham's team today?
No, I don't, but I'll see what I can find.
That would have been great, mate.
I think if you were to do combined value, I actually think Chelsea's team is probably easily £200 million more than what Man City's total team's worth.
Well, come on, look what they've just spent in the last 6 months.
Yeah,
they've got to be on paper worth more than your team now.
They've got to be. There's no way they're not.
And yet, do they look that good? No, they don't. They don't look good at all. They look okay. They can move the ball around, but they don't look like. To me, they don't look like title contenders.
The thing that baffles me is how does Raheem Sterling feel? I'm gonna pack my bags in Manchester and move down to West London. I've moved down to West London. They've just brought 4 players that play in the exact same position as me.
Yeah.
I mean, as we know, I'm not the biggest fan of Sterling. I'm not.
No, I think I've always been a fan of Sterling. I've always been a fan of him. But the bottom line is, you've got to look at Todd Bowley. Yeah, he clearly knows more than everybody thinks he knows, or he thinks he knows more than everybody else, right? Because he's the one who's splashing the cash.
Mm.
Thing is, though,
Yeah,
if you look at Todd Bowley's other sporting ventures, Todd Bowley doesn't win with his other sporting ventures either.
Yeah, but I mean, look.
Just a word of warning to all Chelsea fans that think this is going to work out.
You got to look at the Chelsea squad, right? And realistically, they have got a very good squad before he started splashing the cash, and they just needed to tweak here, just tweaks, a player here, player there. But how many players has he brought in since he's been there? Has he brought in a squad yet?
He must have done. I mean, it's not as many as Forest brought in.
No, Forest brought in 2 squads, but anyway, I'm sure he's brought in. He's close to a squad now, isn't he?
I'm pretty sure Forest have brought in 28 players in total now, with both the windows combined.
Well, when they first came up,
it was 23 players in the summer transfer window.
Exactly, because they only had 5 players to come up with that were their own players. Everybody else was on loan, right? But I'm sure Bowley's. Tony, have you got the graphics of put that graphic up of how many players have gone to Chelsea?
There we go.
Yeah, that's a squad. That's a squad. The only thing missing from that is a goalkeeper.
I mean, I might be wrong here, and it might just be because I'm tired, but I mean, how many players have they let go of? There's obviously Jorginho.
Yeah, he's just gone.
And they tried to get rid of what's his name, the winger, Ziyech. But they forgot to fax over the paperwork.
But did they forget though?
Did they forget? Today. What the hell is that about? We're gonna try and get rid of you. Forget to fax over your documents, and then you're starting today though. What the?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been joined on screen by Dave, the Chelsea fan.
Dave.
So I think we need to have a little bit of.
I'm waiting for Dave. I'm waiting for Dave to comment about Frank Lampard.
It was inevitable.
Sorry, what was that, Dave? I'm only joking, mate.
Listen. It was Stevie G before Lampard. Remember that one?
Yeah, well, Stevie G. No. I've got no problem.
Don't give me that.
I've got no problem with that. I've got no problem with that because at the end of the day, Stevie G was not ready for the Premier. Yeah, he should have stayed up in Scotland or got, as far as I'm concerned, he should have gone to one of the lower leagues to craft his trade. Yeah, he jumped too quickly to Aston Villa and he proved that he wasn't good enough. Simple.
He had the back.
Same with Lampard as well. Lampard, I don't think Lampard's had enough experience in the lower leagues yet before he takes over a top team.
Yeah, but I think we're talking about if you think about what both of them have done, I think Gerrard done more than Lampard to prove his worth in the Prem, but I still feel like
he wasn't good enough. Neither of them were good enough.
I don't think. I think if you look at the board as well, look at what Everton have done already. Like in this transfer, I think they're the only team in the January transfer window to actually turn a profit. Am I right on that?
They may be. They
didn't bring anyone in, but they sold 2. So
yeah.
So and you look at, and this is an ownership that you want a manager to trust and go, actually, no, you know what, they're a mess. They're a mess. He done well enough to keep them up last year, and then they go and sell their best player who basically kept them up. Like what do you want?
Well, then it shows the lack of respect because he probably tried for Richarlison to stay. He's probably more for him to stay than for him to go, right?
Yeah, of course he is. Like,
well then, so
put it this way. Yeah, but you're not gonna if you can get out of that situation knowing what the ownership's like.
Yeah, but you have 2 types of managers. Managers who have a lot of power within their team and are respected by the owners, and managers who are not.
Put it this way, I don't think with that Everton ownership, I don't think they're going to respect any manager. Mate, there is no.
Well, we'll have to find out. We'll have to find out what Sean Dyche does now, right?
Well, if Sean Dyche doesn't get it Sean Dyche's way, he will just knock out Bill Kenwright or Moshri.
Oh yeah, no, but Dyche has done stuff on a budget before. Like he's the right man there, 100%. like Dyche has done stuff where you can actually go, you know what, in that situation, he was the obvious choice for them. Like Bielsa was linked with them. That was a bit of a weird one, but nonetheless,
yeah, but
sorry.
they wouldn't have been able to keep Bielsa happy anyway, because he would have wanted decent players coming in.
Oh yeah, he would have wanted hard workers, runners, a lot. I just don't think. Yeah, like Dyche was the obvious appointment there. But yeah, sorry, Tony, go on. I know you've got your picture on here.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been interesting. I mean, we could spend the entire show talking about the 18 signings that Chelsea made, but I want to try and condense it so that we don't end up here for the next 16 hours just talking about it, because it was literally, you know, every other day Chelsea were buying another player, and you know, in fact there was a story that apparently Todd Bowley went in for Jorginho till he realised that he was actually part of his own team.
Yeah.
Listen, I think, and I'll quickly go on this. Okay. I think what we've witnessed with Chelsea is a summer type rebuild that's happened in January. In my opinion, I think this is a rebuild that probably should have happened in the summer.
Do you think that you're not going to buy any more players come the summer now?
No, because I think what they're doing is, I think they're being quite smart in the sense of they're using this whole FFP thing. You know, I think they know the value of Chelsea. I think they know actually we need to, you know, get some players out, some players in. And I think there'll be a lot of players that go in the summer. But I think they'll reinvest a little bit as well. But I think the bulk of our work is done now. And I think you'll see players like the Ziyech's, like the Pulisic's, you know, Havertz, if he doesn't buck up. Well, Havertz, to me, should be going anyway. Aspi, potentially. You know, they've got players to bring in as well that have signed for Chelsea. And we still got like Nkunku to come in as well. So I think we will have, you know, we've kind of done the bulk of our work now for the summer, where people can then go out to pre-season and yeah, you know, start to gel.
So what about managers? Are you happy with Potter?
I think the thing with Potter for me is, when you're manager of a top club, you need to have that burning desire to win every single game. It's draining, and that's why the top managers can hold themselves together and have that burning attitude to go, every single game needs to be a win. It doesn't matter if that winning mentality starts before the ball's even kicked off, you know, before the game's kicked off, or in the 90th minute when you're dying to get 3 points. I just think he lacks that. He lacks that a lot as a manager. At Brighton, you can win 3 games on the trot, lose 5 on the trot, and the fans will still be happy. At Chelsea, you can't do that. It has, you know, you can't go 2, 3, 4, 5 games without wins. You need to be able to put things together, and I think that's the frustration with me, is that I don't think he's at the level required to be an elite manager. There's no way that a Brighton team, where their top accolade, or the top accolade of that manager, was shifting players for profits, and getting, you know, shifting players for profits and making them a stable Premier League club, constantly getting close to mid-table or a little bit higher, should be getting a top 10 job in the world. Shouldn't have happened. So it's a mistake on our part. I'm sure if he comes good, he comes good. But it'll be, this will be act as a part of his apprenticeship unless we pull the bullet and get rid of him.
Cool.
Can I just say one thing on that though?
Mm.
The idea of him being a mid-table manager, so not qualified to take over a top tier team, I think that's massively underselling what Potter has actually achieved at Brighton. I think he has the Chelsea job on merit. He is the best young English manager out there. If we don't see managers like, sorry,
I think Eddie Howe will complain about that one, but we'll go. But proceed.
If I'm totally honest, Newcastle had a very good squad that was being criminally poorly used by previous managers. So I mean, it's a matter of debate, the Newcastle one, though. But Potter and Howe, they are a cut above other English managers. But if we don't promote the managers into these top jobs from the mid-table teams, then what are we going to end up with? We're going to end up with a Premier League just full of Rafa Benitez's again.
But I know it's going to sound selfish, but every club wants success for their own team. Like, at the end of the day, if you told me we could have had Mark Hughes instead of Jose Mourinho to try and bring through a manager like that, no way. Like, there are probably given points in times where every big club could have had a young English manager, but it doesn't work out. And I think the thing with Graham Potter is, he got the job on merit. I'm not saying that he's a bad manager. I just don't think that he should have been given a potential top 10 job in the world.
What you've got to look at. So what you've got to look at when it comes to the Premier League, especially the Premier League, is that everybody wants the best managers. The best managers aren't English, and that's why you see so many. That's why you see so many of them coming over. Yeah. Yes, the English managers should be given a chance, but you've got to look at it. Everybody wants success, and they want success now, not success next year or the year after. They want it now, and majority of the English managers cannot do that. They cannot bring that to them, and that's why they go for foreign managers. That's been real.
He's a good manager. I'm not saying that he's not a good manager, Graham Potter, and he got the job on merit, and he will have a very, very good managerial career. I just don't think that Chelsea. Can we debate if that's a top 10 job in the world? Would we say
when you spend the money that you've just spent,
you're the top team in the world. You're the top team in the world.
In the top 10, you're the top team because you've literally just outspent every club in the entire planet. You've outspent the whole of European football in one window, literally. And when you do that, you have to basically say, you're buying into success.
Yeah.
Why have we got that picture?
What is it? Yeah, but I think also on that, it's a case of, and this is where the Potter side, it was a risk because you don't know how he hasn't been in this position before. If you had Poch, you could say, right, at least Tottenham were kind of gunning for goals and knew the importance of winning previously, and he was at PSG. You got Zidane, Real Madrid, it's win every single week. Potter, it wasn't that, and I just think it could be a case of with us, it being a bit of a job too early for him. Maybe he needed another feeder job. Maybe he needed someone like another job to breed into a top English job. The Newcastle job would have been nice for him, but Howe's already there. But I think that's what he needed. Personally.
I think the writing's on the wall because essentially what Todd Bowley's done is he's looked at the success of Roman Abramovich and gone, he bought Chelsea the whole nine, World Club Cup, European champ, the everything. There was nothing that you didn't win. Maybe not the I don't know. Did you win the League Cup? I don't know. But essentially, he come in and he's like, okay, I've got to do what Abramovich has done. And what you also got to remember is Abramovich let the club go and took away all the debt.
Yeah. And this is something where he can now start. I mean, he can implement his own plans, Bowley, but I think, what we've seen in January with Chelsea is a summer refresh, and it's and also I think they're not scared of investing, and I also think they're not scared of. I think they're looking at what are the limitations to to football in general. Oh, they have this FFP thing, right? So how can we get around it? And I think it's a very smart way of getting around it. But, and I know people go, how can they spend this much and stuff? But the caveat to that and the downside to that is we have players on 8-year contracts or 7-year contracts now. I mean, did anybody watch the game tonight with Mudryk?
Yeah. Oh,
So if we've got 7 years of Mudryk, where he's cost 88 million and he plays like that every game, are we now rival fans looking and going, Jesus, I'll tell you what, that's have him for 7 years, you can have that. Obviously, you know, it goes up saying players can have bad games, but if he doesn't perform up to the standard required, you know, and that's with the rest of our signings as well. If they turn out to be flops or not good enough, so
the thing is, we know, to be honest, when a contract is given to a player, it doesn't really mean that much because that player can still be sold a season or 2 seasons after anyway. So the fact that he's spread that money out over a contract of 7 or 8 years, will that player realistically still be there in 7 or 8 years? Probably not.
Yeah, but they'll still be paying the transfer fee for them.
Yeah,
that's what they've done. They've spread the transfer fee.
It's not like they can't afford it, though.
No. I don't know. They can easily afford it.
I don't think they spread the transfer fee to the paying it. I think they've stretched the books finance. I think Shakhtar Donetsk get their money way before the end of his contract. Yeah. So that's a totally different thing. So
what they've done is how season in season out is how they've taken that money and presented it in their books, and it's how they're playing the pay. So what they're saying is, if a player costs 100 million, right, that 100 million is kind of paid back over 8 years. That's how they reflect it in the books.
Yeah, but
they've done it in the same way as what the NBA does it to get around their cap rules on spending too much money.
You know, in effect, the 100 million gets paid in like 3 years.
Yeah.
So you still have had to outlay the money. You just get to offlay it in your books, which to me is skullduggery. But I know every club does it. You know, I'm not saying Arsenal aren't doing it and everybody else ain't doing it, but it kind of it's a bit
it's harder to hide. It's harder to hide when a team spends as much as Chelsea and brings in as many players in a transfer window. That's why. Because a lot of clubs probably still do it, but they're bringing in 1 or 2 players. How many players did you guys bring in? What?
18
players. So it's kind of.
I think
it's blatant. They've done it blatantly. You know,
the thing is, it's not an issue right now because obviously Chelsea have been able to offset it at this transfer window. In 2 windows' time, are Chelsea going to be able to spend money?
I think that's the thing, and it's not like this. Put it in perspective.
They can if they sell those players.
Let's put it in perspective of, you know, when we first had Roman. And we could spend money left, right, and centre, and it was a case of what are the ramifications? Well, there weren't any really, was there? Now there are ramifications. You know, I do think if some of these players that are young prospects, mind you, not proven commodities as well, they're young prospects, a lot of them. If they are not up to standard, we are stuck with these players. And who knows what money some of them are on.
You're not really stuck with them because you just either put them out on loan or you'll sell them, or you loan them out to part of the sale, right? So you can
loan these players out, but I mean, let's say Mudryk's not great, you know, loan him out for years to come, maybe on loan fees and stuff. We probably would take a fraction of what we bought him for back. You know what I mean? Like it's not good. It's going to be a heavy loss. So but there are ramifications to this. It's not just like the first time.
And to be honest, this stepping around financial fair play, my view is financial fair play is crap anyway, because if a team is pulled up, they're given a fine that they can afford. What, they might miss out on Europe for a season. Really? Is that really going to hurt them that much for that one season? Because they'll make it up the following season.
And I mean,
so the punishment isn't really severe enough in my view.
Well, it's because everyone kind of realised that financial fair play was a stupid rule anyway when it's a private enterprise.
Yeah, but it's crap though.
Just saying, you should be allowed to spend your money how you want to.
No, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, when you bring in a rule like that, right? It's, you know, you've got to get teams to fear it. Yeah, the only teams that fear it are the teams who have no money. Yeah, or very little money. Yeah, but the teams who have loads and loads of money, they have nothing to fear because, like, for example, Dave, if they pull up Chelsea now, right, they're probably going to say, all right, you're going to have to pay what, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million. Chelsea, you know, Bowley's just going to go, one sec, write it out. There you go. See you later.
Yeah, that's just a left back. They're not going to get.
That's what I'm saying. That's it. Exactly. That's it. It's not going to. It's not really going to hurt your team.
No, it's not. It's not going to hurt our team, and I think this is. But they've had chances to make examples of clubs.
No, they have. They have. And what's happened every time they've had a chance to, especially the big clubs with money? What's happened? Not much. They said, all right, you can't play in the Champions League next season. And
you can thank Man City because we threatened to sue them. So
but they also go, we'll give you a fine that we know you can afford. You're going to struggle. It's not, it's not going to hurt your pockets. That's what they do. What's the point of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, let's move on because I'm wary of time. As I said, we could go
on this forever, right?
About this going on for hours on end. I just want Dave very quickly. I mean, obviously tonight you guys have played a game following the transfer window. Now this kind of surprised me. What was your feeling, Dave, when you saw this team sheet?
I thought first I didn't think Ziyech would play because I thought maybe his feelings would be he would be a bit upset because of the whole PSG saga that's happened. But other than that, I thought this was a standard Chelsea team, to be honest with you. I mean, Mudryk was always going to play after kind of slightly impressing. Havertz, they're just going to run him out there to see if he can actually do something for once.
Can I just stop you there, Dave, very quickly?
Yeah.
So Havertz, am I not right in saying he's your only recognised striker? And he doesn't even play as a striker.
Well, we've got Aubameyang, who's not in our Champions League squad.
So that tells you he's not even going to hit the bench. He wasn't even on the bench today. You're never going to see him again.
No, I don't think we're going to see him again. And I think
you don't really need him, to be honest, do you? You don't really need him.
No, we don't. And Havertz is someone that is a player full of potential, but the output is very minimal at this moment in time. So I think we need.
Can I just say, I thought when Fofana came on this evening and Havertz dropped back more into the 10 role, I think Chelsea looked a much better team.
It's because Havertz is his natural position, but I also think Havertz is so conservative as well. He's not he's a very conservative player. He's all about keeping possession, moving the ball, and retaining possession. We need runners. And Fofana, at least he's a runner. Ziyech isn't a runner. Mudryk's a runner. Mount, the reason that he used to play quite high is because he's a runner. So I just think, it's going to take us a little while to get used to this. I think obviously top four is definitely out the cards for us, and I think it's just going to be a rest of the season trying to embed these players in. And trying to come up with a formula. But the one positive light from this is I thought Enzo was really good, and I think definitely happy with that. With him being at the club, definitely an upgrade in my opinion on Jorginho. Massive upgrade.
Okay. Then we look at your bench and we go Chalobah, Sterling, Chilwell, Koulibaly, Fofana, Aspi, Chukwuemeka and Madueke. And there's a bunch of players, a whole bunch of players who don't make your bench. What was your thoughts there?
I mean, this is I think it's transitional, isn't it, really? I mean, it's not it is a bit of a transitional season, but we need to make sure
Where is Wesley Fofana, by the way?
Cruise ship.
Injured.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So he's out. But he's named in our Champions League squad still, so that's an interesting one. But Batshuayi's not. I think people can look at it. We've got a massive squad. In the summer, players will go. Players will go. They have to go. And Yeah, I think when we come to summer, you're going to see, the Chelsea squad and what they want to build and who they want. I think the biggest question now is who's going to be managing the club in the summer if things continue the way that they continue.
Hopefully it'll be Potter.
I hope it's Potter.
Yeah, I hope it's Potter.
And that's not because I want Chelsea to completely tail off in the next few years. I have a lot of belief in Graham Potter. I really do.
I think I do actually think he's a good manager, and whether Chelsea is too high so early, that's very hard to say. But if you go again with the results right now, it's just a step too far right now.
The one thing I will say though about Bowley from researching a lot of what he's done with American teams that he has minority ownership in or 50-50 ownerships in, he won't get rid of Potter unless things are dire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a chance that Potter will be there for the long haul because, let's face it, Chelsea aren't going to be this bad in a year's time. So
no.
That's for you, Bertram Malcolm. He's got it.
Yeah, you are completely right. I don't, but then I do feel like with Potter, it'll be a case of this is an organisation that he's never had experience in. Football's a different kettle of fish to NBA or NFL. Like this is, it's more smaller, more intimate, and I think this is going to be a case of he needs to set in a direction. I think he will stick with Potter, but I just think this next half the season is where sussing him out and seeing whether he is someone that we want to proceed with. I can't imagine he enjoyed being there too much tonight.
I would just say look at the approach that the Crunkays have taken with Arsenal. They could have fired Arteta 3 or 4 times over in the past couple of seasons. They've stuck with him, and much to my disappointment, Arsenal are the best team in the Premier League at the moment. Oh, I can't believe I just said that.
Yeah, but I also think that there's a number of things. First of all, that's fair enough. They are, but they've got recruitment right as well, and I think this is something that is crucial. And we've got recruitment absolutely wrong, and even in January, like money that we spent, we've overpaid for players, and we don't know if they're going to be right. We don't know if half the players that we've bought are going to be good signings. It's all a guessing game at the moment, and looking at what we're going to do. So yeah, I mean, you can pull up this, the players on our books, but
is Lukaku still there?
Yeah,
technically.
Yeah, but this isn't new though. This isn't new. Like we had, how many players did we have out on the so-called loan army for Chelsea?
Didn't you have 18 players out once before they made it so you can only loan 8 players out at a time?
Yeah, so it's not like it's anything that is unusual to us, this approach. Like it's buying commodities and seeing if they can come good. If not, loan them out for fees and recoup value that way, or sell them. So yeah, but you look at this and you can already see about 10 of them that are probably going to go.
I just got to say, I don't know how Callum Hudson-Odoi is still on the books of a Premier League football team. I'm sorry. There's just some.
I mean, clearly that won't be for long. That won't be for long. I mean, what we got to realise is, that is all of Chelsea's players, but clearly Hudson-Odoi, Lukaku won't be Chelsea players after this summer.
Well, I can't see Loftus-Cheek being there after the summer either.
Yeah, I mean, Gallagher might even be away. I mean, they'd probably have to keep Gallagher just to keep their quota of English players.
Well, yeah.
He doesn't look the same. He doesn't look the same now. He's playing now he's back at Chelsea. He looked much better when he was out in Palace.
I mean, if I count right, Dave, and tell me if I'm not being obvious here, but the players, if I count Pulisic, Aubameyang, Lukaku, Hudson-Odoi, Loftus-Cheek, Kante, Aspi.
Yeah,
That's 7 players I don't see being at Chelsea next year.
I mean,
am I wrong?
The Kante one's debatable, but then at the same time, I look at Lukaku won't be at Chelsea, but he'll be loaned out because he's on a fat contract and he's going to get his money from Chelsea. Unless there's a buyout, that's the only thing I can think is unless we buy him out and go right, here's your money, go somewhere else. Yeah, he'll be on Chelsea's books. He'll just be loaned out somewhere else.
Sounds like a potential Qatar move, a la Ronaldo.
It probably is, mate. To be honest with you, so yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think to kind of we'll get off Chelsea because we've obviously been on.
No, we won't. Yeah, I have a few things to say.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Here we go.
Here we go.
No, you won't.
Hey, Bertrand, how's it going?
Going well. How you doing?
Cool. Let's let Bertrand have his time.
Hedge fund managers are normally very smart. Let's not get it twisted. Very, very smart. That's why they make so much money. Very smart. And I'm not sure I totally get the strategy. This is not the U.S. sporting environment. It's much harder to win in the U.S. than it is in Europe, frankly. You can buy a trophy in Europe. It's hard to buy a trophy in the U.S., the way the construct is. You can easily buy a trophy. Man City bought the trophy. Real Madrid buys every year. Barcelona buys. Bayern buys. Man U buys for years, and Man City coming with deeper pockets. Chelsea bought when Abramovich come in. You can buy trophies in Europe. In fact, that's what you do most times. And
look at Arsenal. You've spent more money than Man City this year, and you should win the Premiership.
No. There's a difference between buying over a sustained period and buying one-off. We have spent money for years, and we still haven't spent money in the last 3 years that Chelsea has spent in one window or the last 2 windows. But I'll say
I don't think anyone can spend that much money, Bertrand.
No, but I think there's a strategy to the madness, right? So what he's done is said, look, we have FFP we have to subscribe to. But if as you know, I'm repeating the obvious, if I spread the contract over a certain period of time, it's not about the cash outlay, it's about how it is on your income statement. So it's 8 into 80. So if I spend the cash off over a 3-year period, it's 3 into 80 versus 8 into 80. So only 10 million pounds go on my books in my income statement, the entire amount go on my balance sheet. So it makes a lot of sense conceptually what he's doing, right? To subscribe to FFP. The problem that he runs into is this. First of all, he's overpaid for players. But sometimes it doesn't matter. It's like overpaying for your house. You're paying over, well, in Europe, I was going to say over 30 years. In Europe, you paid over 5 years or 6 years. Why you guys run into trouble. In the US, you paid over 30 years. So it doesn't hit as hard if you stretch it over a longer period of time, even if you overpay, right? It doesn't hit as hard. And secondly, the problem that he runs into is, in Europe, contracts don't really matter in a lot of instances. But if the contract term is long, you can get more money for the players. So if they go into their last year of their contract, you always, like you see what Jorginho is doing, or the players are doing, last 12 months, their price depreciates significantly. If they have 3-4 years, like Caicedo is, you got to pay the price that the team is asking for because they have a window, even though the player can push to leave. So there's a strategy to that. However, if the player doesn't work out, you can't get rid of the player. You got 6-7 years of hell to get rid of the player. Like Ozil was for us, for example. We couldn't get rid of the man. Even though he was lazy, sitting out there, don't want to go to Stoke to play game after game. We couldn't get rid of him, and he's on $350 a week. And you're paying high wages. So it's not like you're paying 50 or 70 or 80. You're paying way over market value. So teams can't buy them. Teams in Europe can't buy them. Only any British team can buy these players. Unless they take a wage cut. Unless they take a wage cut. Well, because, exactly. Unless they take a wage cut. So there's a strategy to the madness. I understand the strategy. And frankly, I did listen to Simon Jordan, who I think is a brilliant man. But even Simon defers to hedge fund personnel and says they're smarter than him. And Simon arrogance doesn't allow anybody to be smarter than him. And that's what I'm saying, which is they've thought through this financially. It's all about finance. And to them, it makes sense. This is not the NBA where you can go over the cap and at Golden State, you pay double the amount. And you can buy your way out of it. It's a little bit different construct. So let it play out first before we kill them. Let it play out first. I'm sure they've thought through it. He's a very smart person. He's not a dummy. And his hedge fund money, which I must admit doesn't make sense. If you hedge fund money, you want an IRR of over 50% every year. You don't want something where you're getting 10-50% of your money, and you have other shareholders or other private equity personnel in your business. So I've spoken long enough, but let's see how it works. I'm gonna give it time to see how it works.
Yeah,
All right.
I think
Cool.
that's
Cool.
it.
Cool. Let's move on to Liverpool.
Do we have to?
Yeah, why not?
What do you want me to say?
Yeah, there's a point.
I got to say, I think that's actually a really harsh statement.
Yeah,
Liverpool
I
spent
do.
more than
Guys.
a few other teams
Yeah, so here's where we
without
have another
spending
hedge
hardly
fund.
anything.
Yeah, we have another private equity with a different strategy, who may have more money conscientious investors. So I don't really get it. I think Liverpool owners who own like Boston Red Sox don't want to spend the same money like Bowley to get up to speed. They've won already. They've built up the cash share of the club. They can sell it for a significant profit.
When they first came to the club, they basically said, if we're to buy players, we have to sell players first, and they've always done that.
They had the Arsenal model, self-sustained
and
model.
they've always done that. We were just fortunate enough to get players like Mane, Firmino, I can't say his name now, and Salah, and they all played well, which gave us a lot of success. Which is great over a season, 2 seasons, but when you have to start refreshing your team in other positions, I mean, if it wasn't for Coutinho, we wouldn't have Alisson and Van Dijk, because we use Coutinho's money to buy those 2 players, and the owners, FSG, have always used that model and will continue to use that model. So unfortunately, we're not going to strengthen the way we want to strengthen. You know, we're going to suffer. Out of all the big teams, we're the ones who are going to suffer the most. Yes. He's not coming.
I think he may go to Arsenal. You know, we could take him.
He's not coming to Liverpool.
I don't think he's coming back to England.
The only reason why I say that is because of FSG's model. Yeah, they would have to dip into their pockets deep to pay for this player, and it goes against how they normally operate. So that's why I can't see him come. I'd love to see him come. But
I think they were saving up to buy him, but they run into problems with how they position the league.
Yeah, when Diaz went injured, that's why they got Tony Gapco in, right? So they blew all their money, and it wasn't a lot when they bought him in, which makes it even worse. So it's interesting to see. Plus, you've still got those rumors that they're looking to get either sell the club or get investment shares in the club. That's what we're still waiting for. Rumor was that it was going to happen this month. It's now been stretched to March. We'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, I think though also something to note on Liverpool quickly is Klopp's not been through a transition as well. Like he's built teams. He's never had to rebuild teams either. And I think this is the first time he's really going to have to try and do that because.
Well, he built Liverpool as the team that you see now. He's built that. He can rebuild. He's capable of rebuilding, but he needs the finances to do that. And because FSG are saying you want to build a team, you need to sell players. Who in our midfield, for example, is worth more than 30 million?
Yeah, but you got 16 strikers, bro. You got 16 strikers.
But guys, I think Klopp's management style makes it difficult for him to be ruthless. The person he is and how he is. This is not Guardiola, who has no feelings for anyone except himself.
Yeah.
Build this thing about being the dad who take care of his kids and cajoles them and want to hug them.
That's why Henderson is still there.
Treat them like human beings. So he just rid of the Hendersons, and it's a he needs to be ruthless. Servants for him for years.
He needs to be ruthless, and he needs to get rid of some of those midfielders, especially Henderson. He needs to do that because these players may be okay, you know, coming off the bench every now and then, but they're not the team. They're not the place to take the team forward. And Henderson's getting on anyway. You know, you can see he's feeling it now. Him and Milner. I mean, all these teams were buying players. What do? We go and add 2 more years to James Milner's contract, and he's what, 34 already?
He's at least 50.
Yeah, I was being nice. Yeah, but that's the sort of thing that FSG is doing. You know, Liverpool right now will be a top 10 team, and they're not going to move up until they start investing and bringing in better players than the players they've got at the moment.
Milner's 36. Just so you want to know.
So, yeah, well, there you go. Look, so 38 by the time that those 2 years are over, right? 38, and he's running.
He's gonna be
running.
like what's his name from the quarterback? He's gonna spit. He's a
No,
very fit kid.
I tell you what. Now, Milner is very fit for his age. I think he's great for his age. But the bottom line is, you can see he cannot keep up with the youngsters. That's the problem with football. When you get to a certain age and your body starts giving in, no matter how good you look or how fit you feel, if you can't keep up with the youngsters, you're going to be running backwards when you're chasing them down the pitch.
Just like playing fullback.
I do think, though, we're not giving Liverpool enough respect, actually. I do think they're not done. They have gone through, like Chelsea, ridiculous number of injuries, like Arsenal used to go through over the years. So it's hard to judge a team when they don't have the full complement of players.
Yeah, but we've only got one team, realistically. I would like us to be like Chelsea and be like City, where you can swap out 3 or 4 players, bring the other players in, and the way you play doesn't change that much. But as soon as you start taking out key players, we nosedive.
Neil, Konate, Matip, and Van Dijk have been injured for most of the year. Then took Jota on top of that, Nunes periodically, Diaz, Firmino periodically. There's a ton of injuries.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is, it's like, so say for example, Nat Phillips, when Virgil van Dijk was out for practice this season, Nat Phillips stepped in. He did well. Yeah, he did brilliantly for the type of player he is. Yeah. As soon as Van Dijk came back, and you got Matip, you got Konate, you got all those players, he was just thrown to the wayside. He was actually on his way out until Konate got injured, and now he's brought back into the team. I feel sorry for the player.
Well, it shows you have a lot of players, right? It's just when you have a full complement of players, some players are going to not get game time.
No. You can have a lot. You can have a lot of good players, or you can have some real weak players that you're just keeping in the squad to keep the numbers up. Yeah, we need more players.
British too. You need 8 British players.
Yeah, but what's the point?
The 21 plus British.
What's the point having a British player if he's not even getting into like the League Cup teams?
You don't have enough good enough British players. Yeah? I tell you, Neil, you don't have enough good ones.
I know, but the thing is, this player does not get a look in. Yeah, he does not get, and that's why I feel sorry for him. I think he should move on. They should move him on through courtesy. Yeah, because they're just holding him back.
I agree.
But anyway, let's move away from Liverpool. Enough talking, man. I could go on about.
Okay, Bertram, this is your time. Let's talk about Arsenal.
Well, we're on a roll, a brilliant roll, actually. And we've been smiling all season, and long may it continues. Now, the window was an interesting window whereby we pursue Modric for most of the transfer window in January. And Chelsea does what they do. They threw more money at him, give him a long-term contract, which they can't get out of if he's not successful. And they gave Shakhtar what they're looking for. So, but our alternative may be as good as our first preference. I think people underestimate Trossard. And the more you watch him, the more you realize how good a player he is. So even though he's like 28 years old compared to Modric, 21, 22, it may not have been a bad deal for us because we need more experience in the team. We have a very young team. It was one time the youngest, bringing in Jorginho and Trossard probably increased our age quite a bit. But it's still a very young team doing well. We brought the kid, Polish center half or left back. We'll see if he has the capabilities to compete with Gabriel. But also Gabriel doesn't really get injured. He played most of the game so far. And there won't be a lot of window to play, given that we are the League Cup and the FA Cup. And the Europa League, we're in the last 16, so are we trying to win it? So you're going to play most of your first team, frankly. And then we brought in a Chelsea reject, like we normally do. So we seem to do it almost every window or every other window when they're on their last leg. But I must say this, though. William looks awesome. And I'm not sure what happened with Arsenal. It must be the Arsenal disease or something, but the William at Fulham wasn't the William we saw. The William we saw against Fulham in his first game for us, who was brilliant, setting up goals, and then he just disappeared. Went back to Brazil, came back. So maybe it's part of the Arsenal construct or Arteta construct why he didn't play well. But I'm very pleased with my team, how we're situated. I don't know what our financial situation is. I haven't saw the books lately as to where we are from FFP, because we've been spending money over the last 3 years. People don't get it wrong. If you look at the books, we had a loss a couple of years, which we haven't had for years because we've always been very prudent in our spending. But I think having a younger Kroenke on board to really work with Edu and Arteta has helped to realize that, you know what, you have to spend to make money. You can't run it like a business, which is interesting. That's how Liverpool runs it, like a business. We run it like a business, which is, you know what, you spend what you make. That construct has changed, which is you have to spend more than you make in football to really, over time, build up your commercial enterprise, build up your fan base, build up your sponsorship, attract better players when you're winning. That will help to commercialize you more, which is what we hadn't done in the past. We were going along, said we're only going to invest what we make, and don't realize that you sometimes have to spend more than a business normally does to make money. So our team still has a few holes. I still think, given how we play, Jorginho is not necessarily the solution. Good on the ball, but when we press, you need someone to cover a lot of space pretty quickly. As Partey has long legs that can stretch out and toe the ball off someone's foot. And also, Partey is very progressive in his passing between the lines. So we'll see how Jorginho, if he gets any game, because he's only going to play if Partey injured as far as I'm concerned, and what that entails. But the team is well balanced. You know, we're not sure. If you look at the team that's there, we're good at goalkeeper. We are good through right back, center back pairing, left back. Better now in terms of the CDM position. I wouldn't put Xhaka and Vieira in the same level. We don't have a cover for Xhaka, frankly. Vieira is a 10 and only a 10. He's not even a winger, and we'll play him out wide. ESR is always injured, so he's not even a cover for Odegaard. He's always on the injury list. Saka and Nelson. Nelson is also always injured, even though he's coming back now. Martinelli Trossard will be a bad last season. And then I'm not sure if Jesus get his game back when he comes. So if you look at the team, we still have a couple of what I call not major holes, but gaps to be filled. But we're looking really, really good. So my expectation is that we'll compete with City for the title through the end of the season, barring injuries. Because yeah, go ahead.
So you've basically put the nail on the head, barring injuries, because unfortunately, you sound quite upbeat about the transfer window. I unfortunately am a little bit underwhelmed by Arsenal's business, in that I've seen that we've added by subtraction, and I'll explain that. Arsenal went into the transfer window with 3 CDMs in Thomas Partey, El Neni, and Sambi Lokonga. El Neni picked up a season-ending injury, and we sent Sambi Lokonga to Crystal Palace. And then we brought in Jorginho. Now, pardon my math, but that's just not enough. You got 2 players to cover that position, when if you actually think about how much football Arsenal will be playing when European football returns in a couple of weeks' time, you're basically saying, I have to play most of my first 11 every game. Most. And that's unfortunately inadequate in my eyes. You can't be challenging for the Premier League and also saying, well, actually, I also want to compete in that European competition, and then only have 1 cover person for your centre defender, your central defensive midfielder. Now, I know you could probably go, oh, but Zinchenko could play there. He don't play there exclusively. That's not his specialist. Yeah. A lot of people have said, oh, but Kiwior could play there. That's not his exclusive speciality. Yeah. So I'm going to repeat what I said. Arsenal got rid of 2 players, one unfortunately through injury, and added 1. So imagine this in the next month. Thomas Partey turns up for the game and he pulls something. You now have Jorginho starting as your number 6, and you have no one on the bench to play. You have nobody. Let me tell you again. If, for instance, in the next 3 to 4 weeks, Eddie Nketiah gets an injury. If Eddie Nketiah gets an injury, who's going to replace Eddie Nketiah? Because Jesus ain't going to be back for 3 to 4 weeks. And we start playing 2-3 games a week soon. Now, people will say, oh, but you just put Trossard there. But hang on a second. If Trossard is playing, Martinelli's on the left, Saka's on the right, who's on the bench? So by sheer numbers, you should never have let Marquinhos go to Norwich, because you just need numbers. Now, it looks pretty good on there, but compare what you're looking at now and compare it to what Chelsea have by way of a squad.
You should not compare Chelsea to anybody.
You shouldn't, but I can.
You can only have 25 players. They have 43. I mean, how are you going to do a comparison? That's not, how you compare 43 to 25? You only allow 25. I don't know how you compare 43 to 25.
We just don't have the numbers, but.
And by the way, that's missing Omari Hutchinson. I don't see him on that list.
No, he's gone out on loan.
Oh, he is? Okay. I didn't know he went out on loan.
Yeah, he's gone out on loan.
So Hudson-Odoi is on loan, so he shouldn't be on the list then.
Yeah, I guess technically you're right. And
Okay.
so is Lukaku.
Yeah. But they have 44 players then if you put Omari Hutchinson on that list. And they probably have more on loan that we haven't talked about.
Absolutely. But
No,
you
but
see
Tony,
what
I know, Tony, we've built an interchangeable team. I don't disagree with you, right? We've been tin from day one. And frankly, when we got rid of Lukaku, first of all, Lakanga is not a CDM. And that's why he was getting cursed out by Odegaard the other day when we played against Man City in the FA Cup, because positionally he's not where he needs to be. He's not a CDM. So it has to be Jorginho who's the CDM. And we can say Jorginho is an upgrade on El Nene. So I could spin the argument you're saying to say Jorginho is an upgrade. Martinelli and Trossard can play through the middle. They'll get more game time because, frankly, right now, we're going to have some quality on the bench, like Jorginho and Trossard not getting game time. Vieira, to me, is not ready yet, frankly. Good kid, good player. He's not ready yet.
I'm gonna rebut what you just said by saying every one of them players you just mentioned is guaranteed football, because there's no way, it's physically impossible for our Arsenal's first 11 to play every game that is left for the remainder of the season.
So, Tony, we only have maximum 4 games in the Europa League. Maximum 4 games. We're in the last 16. Maximum 4 games. So add the 4 games to the 19 we have. 23 games in the next, 4 months? That's feasible. This is not like Man U is in 4 competition, Man City in 3 competition. We're in a better place than those teams.
Okay, but Bertram, you still have to make 23 games in 4 months. Don't forget, we missed out a whole month because of the World Cup. So we're already behind. We're 2 games behind Chelsea. We're actually 3 games behind Chelsea right now. We played, 19? They're on 22 or something like that.
Is that good or bad?
So we've got to catch up games. So what I'm saying is Arsenal's position is affected by how many bums you can put on a seat. And basically, we're going to pray that those first 11 plus maybe Trossard and Jorginho the odd game, Kivior maybe, Tierney occasionally, going to get a look in here and there. But essentially, I don't think we have sufficient numbers. But I'm hoping that, we can still
Tony, we are ahead of schedule, Tony. Think about this. We're ahead of schedule. Balogun is clearing up the Bush League. He'll come back next year. We don't have to be like Chelsea who rid of. We're going to bring in a few more to add to what we have. Most of them are young. We're in a great position. Great position as an organization. If Saliba and Saka sign their contract, we're in a great position. So enough about Arsenal, though. We're top of the league. We should be talking this much, Tony. We're top of the league. The Millions are coming up at the platform, like Man City and Liverpool and Chelsea.
So let's talk about Man City. I mean, Man City, obviously not a lot of business done there. Welcome, Apollo, by the way. As Apollo has put in the chat, let's let the chips lie where they lie. We are ahead of our development and schedule this season. We are playing our squad depth.
Can I just say, I find this Arsenal fan belief that you're ahead of schedule very bizarre. You're not ahead of schedule. You fell off the top of the tree.
Yeah,
you're now trying to reclimb that tree. You're not ahead of anything. You're way below over the past decade where you should be.
Yeah,
Drew.
Same as what Liverpool were for 20 years. I'm not saying this to discredit Arsenal, by the way.
Drew, this is a different Arsenal. It's a different. You got to reset. Drew, let's not go back. Let's move forward. We're going forward, Drew. We are recycling.
I've got nothing to talk about over January. We signed one player from Velez. That's it. I mean, we could talk about the emergence of Rico Lewis, England's next right back, if we want.
So, talk to us, Dave, Drew. Sorry about the last-minute attempt to sign Pedro Porro.
It would have just been funny. If Man City ended up with Pedro Porro back, it would have been absolutely hilarious, considering the amount of crap I've given Andy for Spurs want to sign Pedro Porro, a player who, quite honestly, could not break into the elite development squad at City whilst he was there. So it comes down more as I'm going to slate Tottenham now. Tottenham keep buying substandard players and overpaying for them because they look good in a foreign league. I'm sorry, he's coming from the Portuguese league. He was terrible when he was at City. Yeah. Although the kid we signed from Velez looks very good.
But Drew, I'd be careful with that, Drew, because Salah and De Bruyne were in the Premier League, didn't succeed at Chelsea, went to Italy and to Germany, came back and hit the bottom of the charts. So you have situations.
You're absolutely right about that, but I'm just going to point out with Pedro Porro, he was kept out of the Man City elite development squad by a player who is now at Grimsby Town.
So it shows how he elevated himself and the player at Grimsby Town didn't. Or maybe scouting work that
he just ended up being sent to Portugal because we made more money out of sending him to Portugal.
Okay, so
it's not a reflection of Pedro Porro's quality. Honestly, he is lucky that Conte and Paratici take care of most of Spurs transfers. Because someone
Who's the kid that played for Chelsea today? Go ahead, Drew.
Hang on, I'm just trying to think now. Yeah, no, there is someone somewhere along the line getting some money in a brown envelope with Paratici about. Just saying. And I can say it because Andy is not here to defend Spurs and their dodgy dealings.
I'm having a bit of problem with my my tech at the moment, guys.
You just like to talk about pool, Tony. That's all. You like to talk about Neil's team who are going through a difficult time, but will recover.
But still spent more than what Man City did in the winter transfer window.
Well, Man City has been much more prudent over the last 2 or 3 years in their spending, right?
I mean, we're selling and covering our costs now from players that are homegrown. It's like I think we're at a net profit over the last 4 windows now, which I'll be honest, I never saw the day that would happen after the takeover. Quite honestly, I thought we were going to be the team that would just always outspend everyone. But we're now covering our costs, which, although I don't like financial fair play, I think it's a stupid rule because, quite honestly, football has been run in a certain way for such a long time. Changing the whole way that it's operated financially, just it's a generational change, not a couple of seasons.
if you didn't, you would have what we've seen before, where the Man U's or the Chelseas, those with the deepest pocket, just dominate, which they do still. But at least
well, yeah, no. If we didn't have financial fair play, we'd all be looking up to Newcastle right now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Which would be quite humiliating, yet also ironic from the point of view of they've just gotten richer oil baron than what Man City got. So it would serve me right for all my years of gloating, quite honestly.
And they could do what Chelsea just did, but I think they're taking a different approach. They could do the same thing.
I'm never going to understand the way which, because the thing I didn't realise though, Newcastle could be spending a lot more money if they wanted to, because they're not at the moment governed by UEFA's financial fair play. They're not in a UEFA competition, so Newcastle could be spending a lot more. They're just choosing to spend wisely. So
yeah, it's a quite amazing difference between Newcastle and Chelsea when you consider that one is not governed by financial fair play, the other one is. Yet you wouldn't have guessed that those actual criteria exist.
It is bizarre. Although next season Newcastle will be governed by the financial fair play, so
who knows?
They're doing well, so they don't have to go. They don't have to go crazy because they're doing well, right? They can do it gradually and still get to where they want to get to.
I've always said that Newcastle had a good squad. It was a poorly managed squad, and that was always the problem. And they've added some real quality into it this year round. So, I mean, their defence has performed insanely above where we thought they would. And they've turned players like Matty Longstaff into Premier League players, which I'm just shocked by that.
No, but what Newcastle done is this season is they've played as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look at all the top teams, they've played as a team in all positions. That's why they
defend as a team.
Yeah, and they attack as a team. They play well as a team. You know, you get lots of teams where you get players and they play as individuals. And the team suffers when you look at the results. But Newcastle have not played like that this season.
Well, they do when St. Maximin plays, because he kind of is a little bit of a.
He doesn't play that much anymore.
He doesn't,
and I understand why.
Yeah, he doesn't. Why. He doesn't. Yeah, but they've done well as a team, and they're one of the few teams in the Premier League that play well as a team.
Guys, let me move the conversation on. I want to just show you a couple of slides very quickly. If anyone can wants to comment, obviously I did quickly just pull up Manchester United.
I can't comment on Chelsea without my lawyer.
Oh look, I'm having problems with my
can I just say about Man United? I don't think Man United showed a lack of ambition. I think Man United done in the transfer window what they had to do in the transfer window.
Yeah.
They spent a lot of money in the summer. I mean, people that bought Anthony and Martinez. They spent a lot of money in the summer.
Yeah. I'm still not sure about Anthony. I don't.
He's a good YouTube baller.
Yeah.
I think they want Osimhen. I think they're saving their pennies for Osimhen.
Yeah, which makes sense. He's big, he's quick, he scores goals. Yep. He's a definite upgrade on everything they've got through the middle at the moment.
They'll get what's his name back if they decide to bring him back. They'll be okay next year, I think.
What's the equivalent of it? What is big money?
100 million.
What would you say is big million? Yeah, so that one that you just put up, those figures are really small. I wouldn't say that was big money at all. Danny Ings, 15 million. That's not a lot of money.
Good bit.
I mean, that's West Ham, though, right?
Yeah, but it's still not. It's not a lot of money, though, is it? When you look at money.
Well, for those teams at the bottom in the January window, we're spending over 50 million. They're spending a lot of money. Given that they also spent in the summer, right? Leeds has been spending money. For them, 100 million total spent for Leeds is a lot of money. Or for Bournemouth, or any of those teams.
It might be a lot of money for them, but it's not big money, is it?
Not when you compare it to Chelsea money or to.
Well, I just look at money as money. Whoever's spending it, yeah. And when you look at,
no. That's like saying I think if Bill Gates spending money, you spending money, the same money. Different money. It's different money. It's different. I'm sorry, it's different money.
No, it's
what you can
money,
afford,
man.
right?
Yeah, it's what you can afford. But what is big money? I mean, when we say that, like, say for example, Jack Grealish, we all say that City spent too much money on him, right? So what is he worth when you look at money?
Well, I mean, you normally work what someone's willing to pay, right?
Exactly.
But if you're using a valuation method and certain criteria to judge a player, if you're going to buy a house, you're saying, what's the comparable house price in the area? You may take 3 or 4 houses as a comparable. If you compare Grealish's price to other players, they overpay for Grealish. Just like they overpay for Modric. They overpay for them. Compared to other players who have been bought, who are playing similar position with similar ability, they overpaid.
But if you compare
I agree
Grealish to Pepe, we underpaid.
No, you didn't. No.
If we're comparing him to Pepe, yes, we did.
Grealish stats at Man City is worse than Pepe's stats at Arsenal. Grealish stats at Man City is worse than Pepe's stats at Arsenal. He's playing a better team.
£72 million for Pepe, and that wasn't even a buyout clause. We paid a buyout clause for Grealish.
Don't give me that buyout clause. Drew.
Well, yeah, but you were willing to spend £72 million on a three-legged horse.
No, Pepe is a good player. He doesn't fit Arteta's style of playing.
Don't forget, he won the FA Cup and he scored.
And he scored 10 goals in the season. How much goals did Grealish score for Man City in his 1.5 season?
Okay,
How many goals did he score?
He's tearing it up for Nice, back in the French league, where he has lost you money, correct?
Because he's getting game time. He wasn't getting Saka had the game time. He's not getting game time.
Yeah, he wasn't getting game time because Arteta took one look at him and just went, "What the hell have we done?"
And Pep had on tinted glass when he saw Grealish, and I realized it was less substance and more form. He's not. Grealish has been awful.
But has Grealish won a Premier League title with City? Yes.
Well, Pepe's won an FA Cup with Arsenal.
No, Tony.
You're not going to compare an FA Cup to a Premier League title.
Tony. City won a Premier League title despite Grealish. That's what it was.
And you won an FA Cup despite having Xhaka.
Hang on, but wait. Pepe was playing when we took you out of that FA Cup run. Without Pepe, we don't win the FA Cup. You
get an anomaly in every statistical category, Tony. There is always an anomaly to everything.
So what's the anomaly with Grealish?
I don't know. He's got really nice hair, though. All right.
Hey, I'm pulling up the stats for Grealish. I'm pulling up the stats for Grealish. 2021-22 Premier League, 26 games, because most of them he didn't get any game time. 3 goals, 3 assists. 22-23, 14 games, 2 goals, 3 assists. 5 goals, 6 assists in 40 games. I'm sorry.
He's quite he's consistent, though, isn't he?
Consistently poor. A team that scores a lot of goals. A team that has the most goals in the Premier League by a good margin. He's not. He hasn't produced.
He's better suited to that Chelsea.
So in all those seasons, though, where Harry Kane has been scoring 25 goals and getting 15 assists for Spurs, what has he achieved in those seasons? He's achieved better numbers.
No, come on.
Yeah, but you're
That's
talking about Spurs.
Come on, Drew. Come on, Drew.
Well, no, it's you don't have to be winning everything to be a better player. I bet if you ask Man City today about Grealish, they'd say we made a mistake. I bet if you ask Man City about Grealish and they're fair and objective, they made a mistake. I'm not justifying Grealish as a £100 million player, but I'm justifying him as a better investment than Pepe.
No, I disagree. He costs 30% more and he produces less.
True.
That's like, yeah, but
no, but
yes, no,
it's a fact.
Right.
It's a fact.
This is like, because I remember Bertram many a times saying about how good Saint-Maximin was.
He is good.
He is good. He's a very good player.
He's the one
he has about as much end product as Jack Grealish.
Yeah, but it's...
Wait. The last time he played City, what did he do, Drew? The last time Saint-Maximin played against City, what did he do?
That was Eddie Howe's fault. And that was an anomaly.
Wow.
When I've got no defence, I will make up a defence, all right?
No,
Clearly.
he had the best game against City of any player I've seen in the last 5 years. He's had the best game against City than any player in the last 5 in Guardiola's time at City. That game where you draw 3-3.
No, that's
He run
absolutely
them
fair
ragged.
to say as well.
Yeah.
But it would be a little bit of a worry. And one of the reasons that Sam Maximin doesn't start every game now for Newcastle is if you can do that against Man City, you can tear them apart. Why can't you do that against Bournemouth?
Well, now here's what happened. So he got injured and they were winning. And managers, it's going to be when Jesus come back with Nketiah. Do I put him in when we're winning? We're in a great run. We haven't lost in forever. Do I upset what I'm having, even though it's a good player, or maintain the status quo? So if we're going to have the same problem when Jesus come back with Nketiah, if he keeps scoring, which is, do I take Nketiah out, who's done better than Jesus in terms of goal scoring, or do I put him in? Same thing. That's what I'd say Maximin is facing.
Let's be honest, though. You put Jesus back in, though, don't you?
No, I don't think so. So if you put Jesus back in, Nketiah is going to say, no, it's unfair to me. My goal scoring average is much, much better than Jesus. There's no comparison. So it'd be unfair to Nketiah. You're going to disrupt the squad to say you have preferential treatment.
But we're
Even though
Arsenal
injury
playing,
shouldn't cause you to lose a game.
I'm just saying Arsenal were playing better football, in my opinion, with Jesus in the team. Not as clinical. They weren't as clinical. I will say that.
It's pretty on the eyes, but the outcome is still the same, right? The outcome is still
I think you're going to need Jesus, though, in the run-in as your main striker.
I agree.
Because he has been there.
I agree. And by the way, I made no apologies. I'm a St. Minimum fan. Big fan of St. Minimum. Big fan. Will always be a fan. I love players with those abilities. Just got to put them in the right situation. Moderate to me was going to be like that.
Okay, guys, let's move the conversation on again. So we're going to try and finish off the transfer window. I'm having a bit of trouble loading up my graphics. As you probably see, all sorts of just popping up unwittingly on my screen.
I think Chelsea paid off the StreamYard.
I think we can all agree that the team that won the transfer window is probably a toss-up between Man United and Arsenal, in my opinion. Just saying it there.
Yeah, I think that's a good. Who won the transfer window? That's a good question.
Which transfer window? You talking about the January one or
the January window? I would say at the moment I would take what Arsenal and Man United brought in ahead of anyone else.
So Man U brought in Sabitzer and who the kid
Weghorst.
Weghorst.
Yeah, Weghorst.
We brought in a left back, a centre midfielder, and a winger. We had a good transfer window.
We brought in Gakpo.
I don't think he's good enough. By the way. I didn't rate Gakpo. I know Apollo rated Gakpo.
No, neither do I. I don't rate him. We'll have to see how well he does over the next season, 2 seasons.
I think with Gakpo, he's going to take about a 6-month adjustment period just because he's coming from the Dutch league.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's so much quicker and more physical in the Premier League.
What is he, Drew? A centre forward or a winger?
He was brought in. He's a winger because he's brought in to take over from Diaz. Because Diaz.
Where's the winger differentiating skills that he possesses? Because the Premier League is quick.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting to see. That's what I'm saying. For me,
that's a little bit harsh, I think, Bertram. Only because he did actually rip the hell out of the Arsenal defense when he played for PSV against us in Europa.
Yes, but
which in the second team or the first team?
The second game at PSV Stadium, he ripped the hell out of us.
Yeah, but the thing is, you guys got to remember that he's now in the Premier League. It's a different league altogether.
He was playing a Premier League team. Yeah,
but that's a one-off. That was a one-off.
And he was whipping the hell out of our defense.
Yeah, but Tony, that's a one-off. It's very easy to play like that in a one-off. He's got to do it.
I've watched him in the World Cup. Where he scored quite a bit of goals. I watched him against us 2 games. Not impressed.
He's got to do that week in, week out, right? As I said, I mean, when a player comes into the league, especially when he's played in one of the other leagues abroad, you got to give them a season to 2 seasons before you start making your decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree.
It's going to be a great player or not.
Haaland didn't take that long.
It's not didn't take that long. I mean, it's not.
Haaland's a one-off. Haaland's a one-off.
It's not much different to Nunes.
You can see Nunes is a bit. No, Nunes is going to be awesome. Nunes, I rate. Nunes had all the attributes to be an exceptional center forward.
He still needs time. He needs a little time. As I said,
he just gotta be more he gotta comport himself in front of goals. Nunes is quick. He's physical.
He's quick,
he can run by you. He can kick with both feet. The kid has all the attributes.
I'm going to be honest.
Chances too.
He's like a 6 foot tall version of Craig Bellamy. That's all I see with Nunes. I'm sorry.
I disagree. You guys will see it. You'll see it. It'll come through.
No. Nunes is good. I think he's good. But as I said, that I'm waiting for these. Give them next season. Next season, I'll be singing their praise. I'm not singing their praise now because I still want.
Gakpo will not get in the game when all your team is there. He will not favor Diaz. He won't favor Nunes.
How they adapt. Yeah, they haven't
Gakpo will be on the bench. I'm telling you, he's going to be on the bench for a long time.
He probably will be. He will be because remember he came in to take over from Diaz, and when Diaz is back, that's it. He won't be playing in that position.
But you're also going to have a 31. Will he be 31 or 32 next year, Salah?
32, I think it is. But him and Bobby are they're coming to that past it age now, aren't they? Or getting close to that past it age, where they can still do well. They're just going to be slow, and
so
not
these
as
signings. Yeah, interesting signings.
For me, it's Gordon. From Everton to Newcastle. I was surprised that Newcastle went for him. No, I don't get why
I think that was a
Newcastle
great signing. I think it was a brilliant signing by Newcastle.
Why, to make up the English numbers? To make up the English numbers?
Probably because they don't.
He was on Everton's bench. He was on Everton's bench. He couldn't get in the first team.
Yeah.
He will come good.
Okay. He has potential, but I don't see it.
I think he'll probably end up playing wide left at Newcastle, and I think we'll see Joelinton move more into central midfield.
Yeah, I heard people giving Eddie Howe credit for Joelinton playing midfield. That wasn't Eddie Howe. That was somebody getting a red card. He had to move somebody in midfield and realize, by the way, Joelinton can't play midfield. He's getting all this credit about how brilliant he started. No, stop doing that. That wasn't him. That was circumstance that drove that. He realized, he could play in the midfield. Let me keep him there for a while. That was Eddie Howe being brilliant. Now, let's stop giving people credit for something that happened by chance.
Tony, you might just say what the graphic is that you're trying to get out. You're showing every other graphic other than the one that you want to show.
I loaded so many that it's created a problem for me to actually put up the graphics. So
the slightly troubling thing is, Tony, we're kind of at the mercy as to whatever's on your PC right now.
Yeah. So here, let's delve into the weekend. We obviously have a very important game on Sunday. Man City travel to Spurs. What's your thoughts, Drew? Is it a game that you have any trepidation about?
Do you know what? I've always got to do we don't like playing Spurs. When we beat them the other week, they were poor at best. They didn't deserve to score 2 goals. It should have been 4-0 City victory. So I'm going to be honest. I think even at Tottenham,
you played your second team for that, though, didn't you?
Yeah, they got taken apart by Rico Lewis, who, as I've said,
brilliant player.
England's next right back.
I was impressed by him.
But I think City run out 5-1 winners in this.
Wow.
Quite honestly, really? I think Spurs are there to be beaten right now.
5-1.
Yeah.
Where's the game?
At Spurs.
You're not gonna beat Spurs 5-1 at home. Come on.
We've done it in recent memory, and our team wasn't as good back then.
I don't see you guys winning 5-1. I see you guys winning, but not 5-1.
You guys struggle with Spurs all the time, don't you?
Yeah.
Well,
this
Spurs team is playing poor football right now.
Yeah, but
they're giving everyone a head start.
Yeah, but by your previous standards, you guys are playing quite poor as well.
Yeah, but we're winning.
Look at the Spurs team. It's surprising they're so poor,
That Spurs team should be top 3, quite frankly.
Yeah, I guess their defense is not the best, but they're not the worst set of players, frankly. At least starting 11.
So the fact they're 5th is absolutely mind-boggling, though.
Yeah.
That means there are 15 teams worse than them in the Premiership. I can't see how, because I think they've been atrocious most of the season.
Yeah, I have 36 points. I have 2 games more than us. And we have 4.
Yeah, no, that's the caveat, isn't it? They have played more than almost everyone, bar Fulham.
Yeah.
So.
That is a caveat.
So, as I said, we got 3 games in hand on some teams. So I'm going to try and finish it off now, boys. We spent an hour and a half dissecting the transfer window. Closing comments, guys, if you'd be so kind. Neil?
Oh, I was actually waiting for someone else because I couldn't think of a closing comment. I'm still shell shocked by the way Liverpool are playing. To be honest, I'm still shocked, and the way Chelsea dominated the transfer window. So, what can I say? All right, I'm hoping that we have a great weekend of football, gents, and I hope that we all get the results that we want. That's my closing comment.
There's actually a question there for you, Neil.
Oh, okay. To what extent was that underrated? He was never underrated at Liverpool. Mane was never. He was one of our main guys. He was never. Salah, is he overrated? No. Does he miss a lot of chances? Yes. That's Salah's problems. He gets so many chances. You know, he'll average 20 goals a season, 25 goals a season. Yeah, but when you look at the amount, not this season. All right, forget this season. But when you look at the amount of chances he gets per season, he probably gets close to 90, 100 chances, and he only puts away 20 to 25.
So let's change underrated, overrated to appreciated.
Appreciated? What? Both
Mane. Was Mane appreciated enough?
Yeah, he was appreciated enough. I think he was appreciated enough. Yeah,
I think he probably felt Salah got most of the credit when he deserved some of that credit Salah was getting. I get that sense.
There were problems between the two. There were problems between the two, and you could see that on the pitch as well. But I don't think that was down to. I mean, I don't think that the fans or Klopp underappreciated either player. Klopp could have handled it better,
Right.
and Mane clearly thought, my time's up. I've won everything I needed to win, and he went to go somewhere else to win some other stuff. And hats off to him. He was a great servant to us. He did well for us. He deserves to go and play somewhere else and play just as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Another point from Rich Poe Sports. Thanks very much, Rich Poe, by the way, for your comments.
Gakpo's only just got here.
Yeah. I got a feeling Gakpo's going to be someone we need to keep our eye on. He also says...
You mean when he's going to go back to Holland?
No. I think he's going to do well in the Premier League. I believe in him. I've seen enough to be able to say I think he's got something.
No, remember when Henry first signed for Arsenal? What was it? 1 goal in 13 games to begin with?
Exactly.
And
Tony and I normally don't disagree on talent. This is like St. Maximum. It's one off, but we disagree about Gakpo.
Sorry, can I just comment on the comment that Rich Post Sports has just said? Yeah, Liverpool have not been the same since Mane's left, but that doesn't excuse the bad form in midfield and defence. Mane wasn't playing in those positions, so yes, we miss him from his contributions, but at the same time, we're playing crap all over the place. You can't play. So
here's what's funny, guys.
Legion.
You take some players of a team, the team doesn't do as well, the player doesn't do as well. Wijnaldum left Liverpool, gone to the wayside. Mane gone to Bayern, hasn't done as well, even though he's injured now, but didn't do as well. There was a lot of complaints about him. But they fit like a glove in the Liverpool team.
Yeah.
Right? Wijnaldum came from Newcastle, wasn't viewed as an exceptional player, looked exceptional at Liverpool. Mane from Southampton, similar thing. So the system and how they played and how they linked worked really well. You get the divorce and things don't work as well for either party. So it's interesting.
I understand what you're saying, but I still think that we're still good enough to do well without Mane. And as I said, when you look at the way Liverpool have been playing this season, the mistakes we've been making, especially in defence, you can't blame that on Mane not being there.
Well, here's the thing that happens though over time. So Van Dijk got injured by Pickford, hasn't been the same since, frankly.
Nope.
Trent Alexander was never a good defender. And when Anderson and Fabinho stopped being able to cover for him, it became very, very obvious.
Yep.
Right? Elliott and others are very, very young. Jones, they're still very young, still need time. You have a lot of change up front with Mane leaving. So a lot of the parts that fit really like a glove, because you play the same 11 for most games, you know.
Yeah, I know.
And Thiago hasn't helped defensively. He's helped. He's a great player, but he didn't fit like a glove in the Liverpool team.
A lot of the players that we've got are great going forward, but when it comes to defending as a team, we struggle.
Because you used to attack people, you know, defensively.
Yes.
You weren't. You're attacking them defensively. You made it put under pressure. Yeah. And that's what people struggle with. And when we played you, I was always willing just to get 3 and go home and be happy, because you played us 1 year with Odegaard and Smith Rowe in the midfield, and they lost. Like kids lost. They were just running around with no heads on their bodies. Now when you play, no one fears you defensively.
No one fears us defensively. And at the same time, what you've got to look at, where we're suffering the most now is actually in midfield.
Yes.
Yeah, our midfield, we've got to, the only way I can look at it, and this is what I say to a lot of people, look at Liverpool's midfield. Which one of those would make it into any of the top 6's midfield straight away?
None.
And that's the difference. Yeah, we have not got one player in that midfield that would make it into any of the teams.
I mean, Fabinho's your nearest, but because of his limitations,
he's a defensive. Yeah, exactly, he's a defensive.
He's dropped off, though. He's dropped off.
He has dropped off. He has dropped off. Everyone's relying on Thiago at the moment. Thiago can't do everything. He can't attack and defend. Well, he's not great at defending anyway, right? Hendo is great at passing the ball left, right, and maybe backwards, but he's not good. He's not good going forwards.
Thiago write me a scores when he tackles. He has no idea how to tackle.
He just goes in. He reminds me of Mascherano, because Mascherano.
Nothing more like Scholes. Mascherano played centre half.
He used to be like that.
Mascherano played centre half. He could play defense. Scholes wasn't a defender.
But when Mascherano, whenever he was on the ball or he was going for a player on the ball, I always used to close my eyes, because I was thinking, that's a red card coming up. That's a red card coming up. He was just he just went in. He just didn't care. You know?
Yeah.
You can't knock Mash, because he went to Barcelona and became an absolute phenomenal player.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on, guys. Drew, what do you want to tell us about your team, or your feelings on the league, or whatever?
I'm just genuinely, we got the second half of the season now. This is where we see who the big boys are in the league. I'm hoping for a real close run-in between City and Arsenal. And for that to happen, City need to take 3 points at Tottenham. We need to beat you twice. So,
and still hope we drop points.
No, if we beat Tottenham and beat you twice, we got it.
Well,
you're not going undefeated for the rest of the season.
Neither are you. Neither are you.
Yeah,
we've done it before.
That's how I see it.
You have to win 19 in a row. You have to win 19. That's not happening.
Yeah, but you guys have dropped more points this season. True.
I mean,
we dropped more points. So was it 2012 when we came back from 11 points down on United?
Yeah.
Won at QPR on the final day.
Yeah, you guys don't look the force that you were last season in my books.
You know, Drew.
We had to give a head start out.
Drew, I say this. When we played you, Drew, after the game was done, even though we lost, I just walked away saying, I don't mind this, actually. I didn't walk away saying, you know what? It's the same thing on over again. They're going to destroy us. I didn't have that view.
I don't think City were at their best. I don't think Arsenal were at their best either.
No, Partey got injured. He came off at halftime. And Partey doesn't play. We only win, 50% of our games? When he plays, we win over 76%. Yeah. There's a big difference with him and the team. So we hope he stays fit. That's our biggest concern for the season. Partey staying fit.
You better
Well,
wrap
now
him
we
up
have the
in
great
cotton wool,
Jorginho, was won a Champions League, so maybe we.
Actually, yeah, no, this is the thing. City have only ever beaten a team containing Jorginho. Wait, hang on. 9 out of 10 times, actually. So, hopefully...
What time was it you didn't win? When was the one time you didn't win? Let me hear the time you didn't win, Drew. I want to hear the time you didn't win.
We don't have to play you in a Champions League final, Bertrand. It's okay.
Okay, great. Bertrand, what's your final words?
My final word is that I love this Premier League season. We're seeing things we have never seen before. I didn't know there was so much cash in the world to be spent in one transfer window in football. It's totally amazing. I will say this, though. I will not draw a conclusion about Chelsea until 2-3 years down the road. Never jump to this. I don't know what you're doing. That's how we have invention in the world, right? That's how we change from one thing to the next. Somebody do something which is cute, like electric cars or whatever it is, and you don't know what it is, so you don't understand it. But it may be because you've done things a certain way, and he's being a disruptor. It may be poor. It may work out to be a total nonsensical thing to what he has done, but let's give it some time. But having said that, it's great being an Arsenal fan today. It's great being an Arsenal fan. We have gone through 10 years of, you know what? It's always about the now. Because it doesn't matter what you did 10 years ago, how it is. It's about how you're feeling today and how things are. And it's good to be Arsenal fan today because not only are we doing well in the league and at top of the league, we have a team built to compete for years to come. And if we win, even if we don't win the league, we're in the top 4 in Champions League, next we're going to go out and add to what we have, keep adding, and hopefully we can hold on to the ones we have. And even if we sell them, they're worth a lot of money. So I'm pleased with the direction of travel. And that's what it is. I'm trusting the Arsenal process. Unlike Philadelphia basketball, I'm trusting the Arsenal process. And hopefully we win.
Excellent. Okay, well, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. Everyone in the chat, thanks very much. Don't forget to hit that like button on the way out. And we will be streaming live tomorrow morning. The watch along for the Everton game kicks off at 12:30. Hope everyone has a blessed weekend. One last minute coming in from Rich Poe says, Drew is a cool cat, pretty humble considering Man City's recent success. Entitled, was it Drew that Pep was asking to shout?
I think Drew is conflicted. He's won, but he's won with certain monies, which he's probably not totally comfortable with, but he's won. I think Drew is conflicted.
It's a very complex thing being a Man City fan. Right, you spend all of your life just like digging around in the dirt, being the crap team from Manchester. And then all of a sudden, you're the best team in Manchester. And then you kind of realise, oh, hang on, we're back in our natural place now because there is a team playing better football than us. Yeah, I've still built up that overconfidence of the past 13 years to think, no, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
You have a striker scored over 20 goals in 19 games.
Cool.
You'll be fine.
Will you be up early tomorrow to watch the game, Bertram?
I'll be out, but I can't join the stream because I'm in my bed. I'm watching the game from my bed.
Okay, well, you might be enticed. If we win about 5-0, you might be enticed to put some gums on and come and join us for the post game show.
Yeah, I'm joining for the post. So the post is about 9. So yeah,
I'm making it known. I'd like to see Manners Man come on the show at some point in time. So
you know what? I'll tell him actually. I'll tell him.
Yeah, that would be great. All right, buddy. Listen, guys.
Right.
Thank you again. Thank you very much, everyone.
Gents.
Have a great weekend.
Have a
See
good
you
weekend.
everyone.
See you soon, gents. Bye.